Hi, my name is Burgess, and I was a resident here at the Boys Home. Before the Boys Home, I was living with my dad for 9 years of my life, and I would bounce in between my mom and my dad because they were divorced. And I moved in with my mom at the age of 10. She had already had my 4 other siblings taken away. They were hiding me, essentially. And then finally one day they were like, we can't keep doing this. And she took me to the youth shelter, and I was there for about 2 years. And then one day they tried to reunify me and my mom. We were living in a motel, and then she relapsed. I had to go back to the shelter, and I started getting in trouble. I was running away, getting in trouble with the laws, things like that. I walked in, I was scared at first. I didn't want to be here. I just wanted to have a normal life, a normal family that loved me in a forever home, essentially. And I was angry, mad. I did not want to be at another group home. And I remember it was hard for the first couple months. But then I started to get to know the staff, and the staff started to get to know me. I became friends with the staff member, Mr. Carter and Mr. Sanders. And my favorite memory is me and Mr. Carter would make ranch all the time. We'd make our own salad dressings. It wasn't even essentially ranch, it was just random things we'd throw and we'd come up with weird names. And I hadn't had a bond like that in a while, in my whole time in foster care. And that changed my life. And then I met a few mentors, and I wasn't necessarily getting in trouble. I was just battling with a lot of things internally that I was able to talk to people about, that I hadn't been able to do that. It's just the staff actually cared, and I hadn't had someone that hadn't abandoned me yet. And one of those powerful connections was Sherry Davis, and she became a mentor essentially towards me. She taught me there's more to life than abandonment and trauma and neglect. Taught me what real love is. It was a major turning point in my life so I could meet the people I've met and made the connections I've made and got closer with my grandparents so that I could one day move in with them like I have now. It just changed my life. And there's no other way to put it. It's just because before the Boys Home, I wouldn't be able to sit down and talk to you like this about this. After the Boys Home, I'm comfortable with it. I'm like, this is who I am. It happened, it's over. I'm fine now, I'm moving on to better things. I have goals in my mind, and I'm doing better than I was. And couldn't have done that without the Boys Home.
Hi, I'm Britta Boswell. I'm a former resident of the Tulsa Boys Home from 2011 to 2013. I was a resident for 2 years. My great-grandpa raised me till I was about 12 years old. He was getting too old, too ill to be able to raise me, and I didn't have any family that was able to take care of me. My mom was locked up. I never met my dad, so I ended up going into the DHS system. From the age of 12 to 14, I had been in multiple placements, shelter skip, foster homes, eight different placements. When I was about 14 years old, I was introduced to the Tulsa Boys Home. I came in just like everybody else is. I'm not gonna get anything out of this. I'm mad, I don't wanna do this. Why does everything have to be this way to me? Lo and behold, a few months later, I started to regain some sense and started to realize that there was a better hope. I got introduced to people. I started making bonds with kids that was in here and staff members. And then went up from novice level to the next level up, and I was able to get a job at the Equine Barn with Scott Averill. He was a huge mentor in my life. Man, he took me under his wing and treated me like his own. You just don't know what it's like growing up without having a mother or a father, and it just strips, most hope out of what you're growing up to do. Whenever I got here to Tulsa Boys Home, a lot of that guidance with the male figures kind of helped me out with Scott in the horse barn, take me under his wing, teaching me a trade or teach me about horses and things like that. I felt as though that there was a father figure that was sort of there. He didn't just teach me about horses, he was the father figure that I was looking for that taught me how to be a man. Later on down the line, whenever I was 18 years old, I got saved. I asked the Lord into my life. And then the past 4 years from that time on has just been continual blessing because I faithfully have served Him. The impact that the Tulsa Boys Home had in my life was the actual structure and discipline to continue on whenever you felt like there's no hope left, to just keep pushing and look for the best outlook and to continue to strive for the next success. Out of every place that I had been, this place felt like home. I felt like I could go to bed at night knowing that I'm at home. Just the general feeling of knowing that you're not gonna jump up and go to the next place or the next thought of when you're gonna run away, because you feel at home, you feel at ease.
Hi, my name is Nate Hess. I've been in the Tulsa Boys Home for about 4 years. I am a previous resident. My mom had the struggle of keeping, us dressed, us healthy food, and she was always depriving us. I think when I hit 4 years old, I ran away because my parents were not providing food or clothing. From then on, it was foster care home after foster care home. I can count about, if I had 3 or 4 different hands, I probably could count how many foster homes I was on. It was a struggle to see the light in these type of situations. I remember coming here, hated the world, didn't like anything, just thought no one cared, or, I was being avoided, like I was alone. But eventually I slowly began to realize that no matter who I am, there are at least a couple of people who love me, and that I have one of the greatest things that I have are a Father that lives in heaven that I have that cares about me. So I realized that eventually I was never alone, and through the darkest times and the brightest times, I had people there that were there for me, and I just didn't realize it. So the staff members here were a big help, like Mr. Smith and Mr. Murphy, Mr. Jeff, Missy, JB, all of them. They would always teach me different ways. I remember Jeff Johnson, going around trying to get churches to come to the Tulsa Boys Home as mentors or things like that. So each month we'd have the mentors come out and say a couple words, and at that time I was like not really a Christian. I didn't know what to believe in until eventually I started to get deeper and deeper inside my relationship with God with these new church people that would come out and visit us. And it was awesome, being able to hear people happy and make us happy. It felt like God was trying to reach out to me. So because of the Tulsa Boys Home, I was able to graduate in a much better state of mind. I was able to graduate and move on to a different facility and have more freedom, and then I was eventually able to get adopted by my new parents. The thing I've heard in the past is that people that are above like teenage age, they're less likely to get adopted. I haven't been with a family for 14 years because I've been in DHS most of my life. Now that I have, adoptive parents that actually care about, I love them to death. Like I would die for them, I'd take a bullet for them, and I really love them.